Ableton Live, and we are going to be able to get a nice demo going here of the different waveforms in analog. I'm going to take this analog and drag it over, grab it and drag it over into a MIDI track here. Okay, now today I am going to be looking at clip view because I can see my panning and my volume in here, and I like this control. You can also be doing this on the main timeline. So again, you've got to take your tour of live so you understand the difference between these two views, the clip view and the timeline view. Okay, so take your tour of live so that you can understand this incredibly powerful Ableton Live. Okay, so I've loaded up analog, and now I'm coming down here to the synth interface, and it follows our chart that's in our textbook. It has the oscillator and then the filter and then the envelope, which here is called the amp section. Okay, and in my diagram I show frequency as cutoff. Here, here that is it's called frequency, all right? And in my diagram, this knob is called the cutoff knob. So what I'm going to do is make sure I turn off oscillator 2. I just want to work up here with oscillator 1, just oscillator 1 right here. And I'm going to change it to a sine wave. This is like the most pure default sound that we have going, the sine wave, right? You can get sweet melodies right here. I am vibing on the new wave vibes, the new age vibes, yeah. Right? So nice. I can do fallers. It can fall into the note. But I like the riser, the optimism of taking this and making a nice little riser up into it. So nice, so fun. So you can play with that, rising and falling into it. You can shorten that rise and fall by doing this. So nice, okay? So here I am in analog, I'm in oscillator 1, and I am using these different waveforms. I've got the sine wave, I've got this fuzzy triangle, I've got a pulse wave, and I've got this cool noise wave, which we're going to get to in just a second. Okay, so you want to experiment with these different waveforms. You can also determine the length of these waveforms over here. Make them short to long. You want to experiment with that. I'm over here in the amp. When I click on the amp section, that gives me this this ADSR setup, and I can change the attack and decay and sustain of the sound. Okay, so I'm going to click back here in the main section. Today we're going to look at LFO modulation. Okay, we're going to look at LFO modulation. That's over here. This isn't on right now, and we're going to be turning it on in a second. And this is going to modulate the waveform, the pitch of the waveform over here, right? I'm going to be turning this on and playing with this rate in just a second. But I have to come over here, click on the oscillator section, and go to pitch mod right here, LFO1 pitch mod. I have to turn this on first in order for it to be able to work. And notice it's not lit up right now because the LFO isn't on. But when I turn the LFO on over here and then I go to pitch mod, notice I start to get this pitch modulation happening. And I can control the rate of it over here. So this is really cool, and this is a great way to get lots of cool sounds going. So I click here in the oscillator section. I go here to the pitch mod. If I double click it, it'll go back to 0 again. And then if I start to jank this slider up, I'll start to get pitch modulation. And that's controlled over here by this LFO1, the rate of LFO1. Okay? And I can do that with each of these sounds, right? And jank the frequency a little bit on this. So again, what I'm doing is I'm here in oscillator 1. I've turned the LFO up so that it's feeding the pitch modulation. The LFO is controlling the pitch modulation, low frequency oscillator. It's sending out changing energy wave. It's controlling the pitch. Okay? and experiment with each of these waveforms. Okay. So today, in this week's assignment, we are going to be layering up and making a windscape. So I'm going to use noise here, right? And I'm going to having the noise set up and using it to generate sound. I can add reverb to this. I can add delay. Put this in one ear like this. I can press Option and copy this wind into a new track over here. Okay, I'm going to drag this back over like this, and now I can put this in the other ear. Right? I can click on the other synthesizer over here, and sweep this frequency and experiment with playing with different wind sounds. Okay, so that's what the idea for this week is. Use wind sounds. I can combine them with these other sounds and create escape based on this modulation and on the wind sounds. Okay, so be sure to email me with any questions, or we can have a Zoom meet. Your idea for this week is to set up different tracks, right? I'm going to come over here into this thing. I'm going to press record, and I can start recording interesting tracks of sound, right? There's one sound. I'll come back, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to return to the beginning, and I'm going to record on this track beneath it. I'm going to record some wind underneath it. Okay, so you see that this is where we're going with this. Layer up interesting sounds and create a windscape, modulation scape, a moduscape, so to speak. Okay, great. Looking forward to seeing you in class or on the Zoom.